Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Become smaller or draw together. Enter into a contractual arrangement. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Contract bridge. The highest bid becomes the contract setting the number of tricks that the bidder must make. Make or become more narrow or restricted. A variety of bridge in which the bidder receives points toward game only for the number of tricks he bid. Compress or concentrate. Engage by written agreement. Squeeze or press together. The spasm contracted the muscle. Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. A binding agreement between two or more persons that is enforceable by law. Make smaller. The heat contracted the woolen garment. Become smaller or draw together. Decrease in size, range, or extent. Draw back, as with fear or pain. A physician who specializes in psychiatry. Wither, as with a loss of moisture. Reduce in size, reduce physically. Hot water will shrink the sweater. Enter into a contractual arrangement. Promise to do or accomplish. Accept as a charge. Enter upon an activity or enterprise. Accept as a challenge. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Shorten. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Lessen, diminish, or curtail. The new law might abridge our freedom of expression. The omission that is made when an editorial change shortens a written passage. Weed out unwanted or unnecessary things. We had to lose weight, so we cut the sugar from our diet. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. The employer wants to cut back health benefits. The act of penetrating or opening open with a sharp edge. His cut in the lining revealed the hidden jewels. Made neat and tidy by trimming. In baseball, a batter's attempt to hit a pitched ball. He took a vicious cut at the ball. Used of rates or prices, reduced usually sharply. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Cut bourbon. Cut and assemble the components of. Cut recording tape. Used of grass or vegetation, cut down with a hand implement or machine. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The act of cutting something into parts. His cuts were skillful. Refuse to acknowledge. She cut him dead at the meeting. Turn sharply. Change direction abruptly. The car cut to the left at the intersection. Be able to manage or manage successfully. She could not cut the long days in the office. Mixed with water. Sold cut whiskey. A refusal to recognize someone you know. The act of shortening something by chopping off the ends. The barber gave him a good cut. Sports. A stroke that puts reverse spin on the ball. Cuts do not bother a good tennis player. Style and tailor in a certain fashion. Cut a dress. with parts removed. The drastically cut film. A wound made by cutting. He put a bandage over the cut. Create by duplicating data. Cut a disk. Cease, stop. Cut the noise. Cut off the testicles of male animals such as horses. A piece of meat that has been cut from an animal carcass. Make out an issue. Cut a ticket. A trench resembling a furrow that was made by erosion or excavation. A remark capable of wounding mentally. The unkindest cut of all. Intentionally fail to attend. Cut class. A distinct selection of music from a recording or a compact disc. He played the first cut on the CD. The division of a deck of cards before dealing. He insisted that we give him the last cut before every deal. Of a male animal, having the testicles removed. A cut horse. Cause to stop operating by disengaging a switch. Cut the engine. A canal made by erosion or excavation. Allow incision or separation. This bread cuts easily. An unexcused absence from class. He was punished for taking too many cuts in his math class. A share of the profits. Everyone got a cut of the earnings. A step on some scale. He is a cut above the rest. Discharge from a group. The coach cut 2 players from the team. Dissolve by breaking down the fat of. Soap cuts grease. Divide a deck of cards at random into 2 parts to make selection difficult. Wayne cut. Fashioned or shaped by cutting. A well-cut suit. Fell by sawing, hew. The Vietnamese cut a lot of timber while they occupied Cambodia. Film. An immediate transition from one shot to the next. The cut from the accident scene to the hospital seemed too abrupt. Form by probing, penetrating, or digging. Cut a hole. Form or shape by cutting or incising. Cut paper dolls. Function as a cutting instrument. This knife cuts well. Give the appearance or impression of. Cut a nice figure. Grow through the gums. The new tooth is cutting. Have a reducing effect. This cuts into my earnings. Have grow through the gums. The baby cut a tooth. Hit a ball with a spin so that it turns in the opposite direction. Cut a ping pong ball. Make an abrupt change of image or sound. Cut from one scene to another. Make an incision or separation. Cut along the dotted line. Make a recording of. Cut the songs. Move one's fist. His opponent cut upward toward his chin. Pass directly and often in haste. We cut through the neighbor's yard to get home sooner. Pass through or across. The boat cut the water. Penetrate injuriously. The glass from the shattered windshield cut into her forehead. Perform or carry out. Cut a caper. Reap or harvest. Cut grain. Record a performance on a medium. Cut a record. Separated into parts or laid open or penetrated with a sharp edge or instrument. The cut surface was modeled. Separate with or as if with an instrument. Shorten as if by severing the edges or ends of. Cut my hair. Stop filming. Cut a movie scene. The act of reducing the amount or number. The mayor proposed extensive cuts in the city budget. The style in which a garment is cut. A dress of traditional cut. Of pages of a book, having the folds of the leaves trimmed or slit. The cut pages of the book. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Shorten lines in a drawing so as to create an illusion of depth. Cut down on. Make a reduction in. Reduce your daily fat intake. Take off weight. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. The sauce should reduce to 1 cup. Lessen the strength or flavor of a solution or mixture. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. Be the essential element. Put down by force or intimidation. Make smaller. Reduce an image. To remove oxygen from a compound, or cause to react with hydrogen or form a hydride, or to undergo an increase in the number of electrons. Narrow or limit. Reduce the influx of foreigners. Cook until very little liquid is left. The cook reduced the sauce by boiling it for a long time. Reduce in size. Reduce physically. Bring to humbler or weaker state or condition. He reduced the population to slavery. Distress and thus weaken a sound when pronouncing it. Lessen and make more modest. Reduce one's standard of living. Lower in grade or rank or force somebody into an undignified situation. She reduced her niece to a servant. Make less complex. Reduce a problem to a single question. Reposition, a broken bone after surgery, back to its normal site. Simplify the form of a mathematical equation of expression by substituting one term for another. Undergo meiosis. The cells reduce. Edit by omitting or modifying parts considered indelicate. Reduce in scope while retaining essential elements. The manuscript must be shortened. Become short or shorter. In winter, the days shorten. Make shorter than originally intended. Reduce or retrench in length or duration. He shortened his trip due to illness. Make short or shorter. Shorten the skirt. A formal public statement. A declaration of independence. Contract bridge. The highest bid becomes the contract setting the number of tricks that the bidder must make. A formal expression by a meeting. Agreed to by a vote. A statement of taxable goods or of dutiable properties. A statement that is emphatic and explicit, spoken or written. Law. Unsworn statement that can be admitted in evidence in a legal transaction. His declaration of innocence. Become tight or as if tight. Become more focused on an area of activity or field of study. Make or become more narrow or restricted. The selection was narrowed. Characterized by painstaking care and detailed examination. A narrow scrutiny. Lacking tolerance or flexibility or breadth of view. A brilliant but narrow-minded judge. Define clearly. I cannot narrow down the rules for this game. A narrow strait connecting two bodies of water. Limited in size or scope. The narrow sense of a word. Not wide. A narrow bridge. Very limited in degree. Won by a narrow margin. A variety of bridge in which the bidder receives points toward game only for the number of tricks he bid. Make more concise. Direct one's attention on something. Be cooked until very little liquid is left. Make central. Compress or concentrate. Cook until very little liquid is left. The desired mineral that is left after impurities have been removed from mined ore. A concentrated example of something. The concentrate of contemporary despair. A concentrated form of a foodstuff. The bulk is reduced by removing water. Draw together or meet in one common center. These groups concentrate in the inner cities. Make denser, stronger, or purer. Concentrate juice. Make more concise. Condense the contents of a book into a summary. Compress or concentrate. Congress condensed the 3-year plan into a 6-month plan. Undergo condensation. Change from a gaseous to a liquid state and fall in drops. Water condenses. Become more compact or concentrated. Her feelings condensed. Cause a gas or vapor to change into a liquid. The cold air condensed the steam. Developed due to condensation. All our planets condensed out of the same material. Remove water from. Condense the milk. Structure displaying a board on which advertisements can be posted. The highway was lined with signboards. A perceptible indication of something not immediately apparent, as a visible clue that something has happened. He showed signs of strain. Mark with one's signature. Write one's name, on. She signed the letter and sent it off. Make the sign of the cross over someone in order to call on God for protection. Consecrate. Any nonverbal action or gesture that encodes a message. Signals from the boat suddenly stopped. Engage by written agreement. They signed 2 new pitchers for the next season. Used of the language of the deaf. An event that is experienced as indicating important things to come. It was a sign from God. Approve and express assent, responsibility, or obligation. Have you signed your contract yet? Communicate silently and non-verbally by signals or signs. He signed his disapproval with a dismissive hand gesture. Astrology, one of 12 equal areas into which the zodiac is divided. Having an indicated pole, as the distinction between positive and negative electric charges. Charges of opposite sign. A character indicating a relation between quantities. Don't forget the minus sign. A fundamental linguistic unit linking a signifier to that which is signified. The bond between the signifier and the signified is arbitrary. A gesture that is part of a sign language. A public display of a message. He posted signs in all the shop windows. Be engaged by a written agreement. He signed to play the casino on December 18th. Communicate in sign language. I don't know how to sign, so I could not communicate with my deaf cousin. Medicine. Any objective evidence of the presence of a disorder or disease. There were no signs of asphyxiation. Place signs, as along a road. Sign an intersection. Engage by written agreement. Engage by written agreement. Join a club, an activity, etc. with the intention to join or participate. Briefly giving the gist of something. A compact style is brief and pithy. A signed written agreement between two or more parties, nations, to perform some action. A small cosmetics case with a mirror, to be carried in a woman's purse. A small and economical car. Having a short and solid form or stature. A wrestler of compact build. Make more compact by or as if by pressing. Compress into a wad. Squeeze or press together. Have the property of being packable or of compacting easily. This powder compacts easily. Closely and firmly united or packed together. Compact soil. Make more compact by or as if by pressing. Compress the data. Squeeze or press together. She compressed her lips. A cloth pad or dressing, with or without medication, applied firmly to some part of the body, to relieve discomfort or reduce fever. Become tight or as if tight. Her throat constricted. Squeeze or press together. A dense crowd of people. To be oppressive or burdensome. Something pressed on his mind. The print media responsible for gathering and publishing news in the form of newspapers or magazines. The act of pressing, the exertion of pressure. He gave the button a press. Make strenuous pushing movements during birth to expel the baby. The state of demanding notice or attention. The press of business matters. A tall piece of furniture that provides storage space for clothes, has a door and rails or hooks for hanging clothes. A machine used for printing. Lift weights. This guy can press 300 pounds. Force or impel in an indicated direction. Squeeze or press together. She compressed her lips. A weight lift in which the barbell is lifted to shoulder height and then smoothly lifted overhead. Press and smooth with a heated iron. Press your shirts. Exert oneself continuously, vigorously, or obtrusively to gain an end or engage in a crusade for a certain cause or person. Be an advocate for. Press from a plastic. Press a record. Any machine that exerts pressure to form or shape or cut materials or extract liquids or compress solids. Ask for or request earnestly. Be urgent. This is a pressing problem. Clamp to prevent wooden rackets from warping when not in use. Create by pressing. Crowd closely. The crowds pressed along the street. Exert pressure or force to or upon. He pressed down on the boards. Place between two surfaces and apply weight or pressure. Pressed flowers. To compress with violence, out of natural shape or condition. Squeeze a lemon. An aggressive attempt to compel acquiescence by the concentration or manipulation of power. To cause to do through pressure or necessity, by physical, moral or intellectual means. He squeezed her for information. A twisting squeeze. A state in which there is a short supply of cash to lend to businesses and consumers and interest rates are high. A tight or amorous embrace. Squeeze like a wedge into a tight space. I squeezed myself into the corner. Squeeze or press together. The act of gripping and pressing firmly. He gave her cheek a playful squeeze. Hold someone tightly in your arms, usually with fondness. Obtain by coercion or intimidation. They squeezed money from the owner of the business by threatening him. Press or force. Squeeze tightly between the fingers. She squeezed the bottle. A situation in which increased costs cannot be passed on to the customer. Increased expenses put a squeeze on profits. Press firmly. He squeezed my hand. Slang. A person's girlfriend or boyfriend. She was his main squeeze. The act of forcing yourself, or being forced, into or through restricted space. Getting through that small opening was a tight squeeze. Reach with a blow or hit in a particular spot. Come to have or undergo a change of physical features and attributes. Leave immediately. Used usually in the imperative form. Perceive by hearing. She didn't get his name when they met the first time. Undergo, as of injuries and illnesses. Make, offspring, by reproduction. Give certain properties to something. Get someone mad. Be a mystery or bewildering to. Suffer from the receipt of. Receive as a retribution or punishment. Take vengeance on or get even. We'll get them. Achieve a point or goal. Move into a desired direction of discourse. Go through mental or physical states or experiences. Get an idea. Irritate. Her childish behavior really get to me. Take the first step or steps in carrying out an action. Let's get down to work now. Succeed in catching or seizing, especially after a chase. Apprehend and reproduce accurately. Enter or assume a certain state or condition. It must be getting more serious. Attract and fix. Receive a specified treatment, abstract. Earn or achieve a base by being walked by the pitcher. Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Cause to move. Cause to be in a certain position or condition. Come into the possession of something concrete or abstract. Cause to do. Cause to act in a specified manner. Reach a destination. Arrive by movement or progress. She didn't get to Chicago until after midnight. Go or come after and bring or take back. Grasp with the mind or develop an understanding of. Did you get it? Acquire as a result of some effort or action. You cannot get water out of a stone. A return on a shot that seemed impossible to reach and would normally have resulted in a point for the opponent. Communicate with a place or person. Establish communication with, as if by telephone. The operator couldn't get Kobe because of the earthquake. Evoke an emotional response. Brahms's Requiem gets me every time. Overcome or destroy. Purchase. What did you get at the toy store? Reach and board. Reach by calculation. What do you get when you add up these numbers? The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the die. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with. Archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself. Have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Make smaller. Wear off or die down. Move downward and lower, but not necessarily all the way. The barometer is falling. The act of surrendering, usually under agreed conditions. Come into the possession of. When a wrestler's shoulders are forced to the mat. Fall from clouds. Rain, snow and sleet were falling. Lose an upright position suddenly. A sudden decline in strength or number or importance. The fall of the House of Habsburg. Fall or flow in a certain way. Fall to somebody by assignment or lot. A sudden sharp decrease in some quantity. When that became known, the price of their stock went into free fall. A free and rapid descent by the force of gravity. Touch or seem as if touching visually or audibly. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Come as if by falling. A downward slope or bend. The season when the leaves fall from the trees. In the fall of 1973. The time of day immediately following sunset. They finished before the fall of night. A sudden drop from an upright position. Come under, be classified or included. Fall into a category. Be inherited by. A lapse into sin, a loss of innocence or of chastity. A fall from virtue. A movement downward. The rise and fall of the tides. Assume a disappointed or sad expression. Be born, used chiefly of lambs. Be captured. Be cast down. Be due. Payments fall on the first of the month. Begin vigorously. Come out. Issue. Descend in free fall under the influence of gravity. Die, as in battle or in a hunt. Several deer have fallen to the same gun. Drop oneself to a lower or less erect position. Go as if by falling. Lose office or power. Lose one's chastity. A fallen woman. Move in a specified direction. The line of men fall forward. Occur at a specified time or place. Christmas falls on a Monday this year. Pass suddenly and passively into a state of body or mind. Fall into a trap. Slope downward. The hills around here fall towards the ocean. suffer defeat, failure, or ruin. We must stand or fall. The lapse of mankind into sinfulness because of the sin of Adam and Eve. To be given by assignment or distribution. To be given by right or inheritance. Yield to temptation or sin. A process of becoming smaller or shorter. The act of decreasing or reducing something. Decrease in size, extent, or range. The amount of homework decreased towards the end of the semester. A change downward. There was a decrease in his temperature as the fever subsided. Make smaller. He decreased his staff. The amount by which something decreases. Decrease in size, extent, or range. Lessen the authority, dignity, or reputation of. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Grounds for feeling hopeful about the future. There is little or no promise that he will recover. Make a promise or commitment. A verbal commitment by one person to another agreeing to do, or not to do, something in the future. Give grounds for expectations. The results promised fame and glory. Promise to undertake or give. I promise you my best effort. Cause to feel sure. Give reassurance to. The airline tried to reassure the customers that the planes were safe. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Make a promise or commitment. Make certain of. Inform positively and with certainty and confidence. Assure somebody of the truth of something with the intention of giving the listener confidence. I assured him that traveling to Cambodia was safe. Make smaller.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.